Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of
Jesus Freak and the Jew.
Jew. I love that it's very melodic.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
song. Really, maybe.
We like to rock it out early. And
Oh
often.
yeah, that's totally a word I would use to describe you.
Yeah.
Like
that's
living
me.
your best life. Like
as always, that's what I tell people. That's what Facebook thinks.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What are we talking about today, sister?
January 6th.
Now, are we talking about January 6th, 2021? Are we talking about the January 6th committee or both?
I think we need to
talk about them both.
I think we have to just start with the one. There's enough to talk about the first. We can kind of segue into the other one, but the other one's evolving, but I don't know if it's evolving enough to really go into a deep dive about. Like, they don't have enough. There's not enough really happening right now. It's kind of stalled.
It's really a question of what your side thinks about it. I mean, because that's really the issue, right? Is whether we need the January 6th committee, and is it a witch hunt or just a standard use of congressional
Total witch hunt. Total witch hunt. Total witch hunt.
It's just so shocking how we can take a picture and I see a dog and you see a cat. I don't see how it's possible.
Okay, so I do have a question for you.
Yeah,
are you like just a mainstream media person, like watch the TV and dial into like the major news networks?
You know, so I read so many different websites and so many different sources of media. Like, it's hard for me to say whether I'm mainstream or not, because I'm bored all the time. Right. I sleep 20 minutes a night.
That's true.
I just look at my phone and like look at everything. So I'm looking at CNN, I'm looking at Fox, I'm looking at the LA Times, I'm looking at xyz.com trying to figure out who the hell they are. I mean, I just look at everything, and I don't believe most of them, but
I should,
mainstream. I believe that for the last several hundred years, we've all believed that mainstream media is pretty accurate for the most part. And in the last 5-6 years,
that's such a farce. I haven't watched the news in 20 years because it literally agitates the hell out of my spirit. And I'm like, they're such liars. Oh my God, that's not even true. I can't even right now. I've not been allowed to watch the news for 20 years.
So there was an article about a building I did 15, 20 years ago, and it was all 2 bedrooms with a couple 1 bedrooms. And they described it as all 1 bedroom with a couple 2 bedrooms. Is that lying, or is that just missing the facts slightly? Oops. Because that's what I feel like where the distinction is. Like, mainstream is generally correct. It's a building, and they knew what building it was, but they just got the facts a little wrong because they just don't understand like I do. That's how I feel is the distortion between reality and falsehood.
Well, the truth isn't very entertaining, right? And so since TV, let's be honest, it's the news, but it's theatrics, right? Like, the characters that are delivering the message have a specific tonality and a personality and a style. Like, so it's TV, and at the end of the day, you have to sell advertising. It has ratings.
TV prevents the narrative, and it is entertainment. I mean, written journalism is a little different. The New York Times is a little less about entertainment, right? And again, for the last 100 years, we've looked at mainstream media as being generally correct. Last 6 years, since your orange Lord and Savior showed up, all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. It's all a lie. He's the only person on the planet who tells the truth. Everybody lies except him. Thank God for him, I guess, that we have one person telling the truth on the planet.
Or maybe he's exposed some of the truths behind what's really going on and who runs the media
He wrote
and what's happening behind that.
He wrote in the book that made him famous, I basically lie, and I call it truthful hyperbole. He basically says that he lies. He tells people that he lies, and you guys somehow... Okay, we're already way off the fact. We're way off the track. All right.
So I know, but this leads to like some of what's happening, because there needs to be like what's truth and what's not. So like what's being told on mainstream media and what's being like a picture and a snapshot of something that's put on a blog post is actually not like what happened behind the scenes. So I watched 2 documentaries.
I watched more than that. I watched them
in the last 48 hours. But let's be clear, my phone has...
So you watched them the last 48 hours, and I watched them 2 weeks ago. Yours is better than mine or something?
No, I'm just saying.
Accurate? Okay.
They're fairly new. So like they're like the most up to date.
Dinesh D'Souza? Did you watch 3,000 Mules or whatever?
No, I have not watched that one yet. My mom said I need to watch it.
I
but I
did.
haven't gotten that far. Was it good?
It's hysterical.
Okay.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. But go ahead.
Point being is
Yes.
there's two sides to every story, and there's two sides to this narrative, and somewhere in the middle is partial, like there's truth, right? And so it's discerning where that is. And when you see some of the very disheartening and, I mean, pardon my French, effed up stuff that went on.
You can say fucked up. All 4 people who listen to this thing,
That's
all
fine.
say fuck. I know.
It's super fucked up. Like, I mean, in the testimonies and the accounts from the people that were there and now are like facing charges, and there's video footage of them, like, and what happened, and you're like, but they didn't do anything. They were just standing there, literally standing. Like, they didn't breach, they didn't do anything, and now they're being charged with crimes. It's like,
I mean, it's just so ridiculous for you to say that. I mean, I understand you not believing the mainstream media. I believe you not understanding or not agreeing with, NBC, but you got to believe your own eyes. You saw
right, and
videos.
I watched it. No, I watched
the videos.
It.
Okay, you saw hundreds, if not thousands, of people storming into the Capitol. Like,
I'm going to give you some facts. I'm going to give you some like time, date stamped
alternative facts. Alternative facts or real facts?
These are not alternative facts. The cameras from the Capitol, cameras, footage, live footage from the Capitol. Is that real or fake? It's not. It's not like somebody from their phone. It's Capitol, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, the police started firing munitions into the crowd, and the crowd's standing there. They're standing there. They weren't pushing against. They weren't trying to get in. This was before anything happened. They incited violence. Like, they incited the crowd.
So it's the police's fault. So the police, like, there's tens of thousands of people that march from the ellipse to the Capitol with guns, with zip ties, with tear gas. They were holding flagpoles or breaking the windows, and you're saying it was the police that started it? Seriously?
You've been watching the media. You haven't watched like behind the scenes footage. There are literally people.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
have you ever heard of any?
We're behind the looking glass now.
No. Oh my god. Oh my god. I need to just. Okay. I should have.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question though. So there were thousands of people there, right? Thousands.
Yeah, lots. Okay. But some of them were at the speech listening to Trump speak, and some were at the Capitol. Okay.
And then they all went to the Capitol once Trump left. But or most of them. Let me ask you. I will concede that there were a lot of people who were just standing. There's a lot of people standing in the grass, not doing anything, just looking, not in breach, like you said. But there were also hundreds, if not thousands of people inside the Capitol, banging down the doors, crashing windows, attacking police, and shitting on Pelosi's desk. Do you at least admit that there were people who were doing those things, or you don't think any of them were at all because one person you saw standing on the grass wasn't doing that?
I believe that all that stuff was totally staged. Here's why. Because Donald Trump literally asked Kash Patel, who was the head of his comms and ops, do you think we should call in the National Guard the Monday before January 6th? And he said, I'm not really sure, don't really know. And he goes, I'm going to authorize it anyway. I'm authorizing the use of 20,000 National Guard.
It's a lie. It's a lie. And if you go listen to the January 6th committee, the head of defense, the DHS, the head of defense, every single person in all of the departments who would deal with that testified that Donald Trump never, ever asked that. Never. Every single one of them testified to that.
Pause. Do you follow the protocol of how the National Guard actually gets called in? They get called in to 2 things, right? Number 1, it has to be approved by the quote unquote sergeant of arms. Okay. Pelosi's included in that. Okay. The president must authorize the use of the National Guard. And then the governing body, which in this particular case was Mayor Bowser, they offered it. It was declined.
Did not happen.
Absolutely 100%.
You're absolutely wrong. And if you listen to the testimony of January 6th committee, you'd hear the people who
I don't trust the January 6th committee because they didn't select it properly.
Every single person who testified was a Republican. There was virtually no Democrats. They're all Republicans.
That is not true.
They were virtually all Republicans.
Do you want me to send you the latest article on the exact committee?
Send it all to me. Let me send you the response. Cassidy Hutchinson was like his intern. She sat there at his desk the whole time. I mean, these are all Republicans. And
they're not all Republicans.
Oh, was there one
leader
person
of
who was
each
a Democrat?
party and then 5 representatives from each party, and that's not what it is.
What are you talking
That's how
about?
the selection committee gets selected.
Well, no. You know what happened though is because when they tried to do this committee, McCarthy gives them the 2 biggest bomb throwers in the Senate or in the House to try and disrupt and fuck it all up. Pelosi says no, and then he goes, "I'm not going to put anybody in. Forget it. I'm out."
They're the 2 biggest conservatives, and she doesn't want them on the panel because they know that they're going to.
So Kevin McCarthy took his toys and went home. Kevin McCarthy took his toys and went home, and now Trump is even criticizing him, realizing, oh, we fucked up. Because we shouldn't have just let the Democrats run this whole thing. We should have had some Republicans on. But Kevin McCarthy, being the little bitch that he is, said, oh, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. It was like ridiculous. It's not, this is what you guys do. This is Republicans. I can't see something, so nothing must be happening.
Oh,
I can't see it. Nothing must be happening.
I think that's the problem. We see all the players. We see the game. We see the strategy. We see the manipulation. We see the manipulation of the law. And the Democrats just breaking the law. And
you
no
see
one
QAnon too. And you see QAnon, the cabal of pedophiliac Democrats too. All the shit that you guys just make up while you're sitting around going, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Wait, I don't.
Hey!
Wait, Elizabeth, you're not there. You must not be talking. It's ridiculous.
You can hear me from 10,000 miles away.
What are you talking about? Where's the National Guard? Where's Pelosi?
Listen, the Capitol was left unsecured. Why fucking open?
I'll tell you what. Fine. Let's assume you're right. Donnie BK was like, please send in all the National Guards. And Nancy Pelosi was quietly calling the Sergeant at Arms saying, don't do it, okay? We want to do a false flag operation. Okay, let's assume that's the case, which is complete horseshit.
What happened?
Now, all these people who stormed in there and were breaking windows and attacking cops and knocking people out and shitting on her desk and stealing things from the... What about them? They don't exist. That was all made up?
They don't even know.
Was it made up? Was it made up?
They haven't even identified some of those people. Those people should
be charged for
war crimes. It's not 800. No, there's people in the videos that they've never been able to identify. They're like, who is this person? And that person's not being, the picture of that person is not being charged in any of the 800 people. So the question is, where their suspicious actors brought in to incite this violence, and then the followers followed suit. But they got off, and there's no charges pressed against them.
Okay, so who was? So now Pelosi was the one who stopped the National Guard because Trump was that, even though every one of his underlings said he never asked for the National Guard. So who was it?
It goes to the governor first. If the governor isn't able to say yes or no.
The governor of Washington, D.C.? The governor of Washington, D.C.?
Correct.
Is there a governor of Washington, D.C.?
No, not Washington, D.C. Sorry, it's state. I'm sorry. Shut up and let me finish.
They're in Washington, D.C. So, I mean, if you're going to be wrong about everything, let's also be wrong about that. There's no governor of Washington, D.C.
It's not the governor of Washington, D.C.
Okay, so who is it?
Bowser.
Okay, the mayor. Okay, go ahead. So the mayor was doing a false flag operation. Okay, go ahead. Who else?
They just denied the use of the National Guard.
Why did they deny it?
No clue. Then you're saying
the mayor controls the National Guard, which is a federal crew?
Pause. It gets asked for the mayor gets say, and then it goes to the federal. And it got denied. And then it got offered. It got offered to Pelosi, and they said no. And then on the day of January 6th, they were like, why isn't the National Guard? Blah, 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 blah. They continued to deny the use of the troops.
And this is a false flag operation, right? Because Pelosi and Bowser and Antifa and QAnon and who else was involved in this big conspiracy?
It's one of two things.
Was Bigker involved in this one, or that was
absolutely? He was there with a flag, dude, and a bandana.
Okay,
rocking
go ahead.
His stars and stripes.
Go ahead.
So one of two things. It's false flag. It's total witch hunt. It's all staged.
Okay.
Or they thought that the DC police and the Capitol Police could handle it, and it got out of control.
Who staged it?
Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh my God.
Thousands, tens of thousands. And now, was she the one who gave Trump the speech where he said fight?
Listen,
where Giuliani says you have to fight or we're going to lose? Josh Hawley with the raised fist, did she do that too?
Well, you have to fight for your freedom. That can be taken literally or figuratively. So
but
that's
where
a very
did
big
Pelosi?
statement.
I'm trying to figure out what Pelosi did specifically to stage this. When Trump was out there saying fight, Giuliani was saying fight,
Pause.
John Eastman was saying fight.
Right.
Where did Pelosi step in?
Trump was doing his speech, right? And there were supporters that were coming to watch him because they were like,
were they armed?
Possibly could be the last time we ever see him speak as president.
Were they armed?
Maybe. I don't know how they would have brought arms in unless they drove into the city, but most of those people flew in. So, I mean,
so you're saying they weren't armed, even though we've now had testimony from multiple people who were there saying they were armed. We had video of the people on the ellipse, people being armed. We saw all of that.
Armed
that was
with
all made
what?
Up.
Guns, knives? What are we talking about? What are they armed with? Give me examples.
They had zip ties. They had guns. They had knives. They had fucking everything.
What the fuck are you going to do with a zip tie?
You're going to basically find a senator and you're going to take him fucking camp. They were talking about hang Mike Pence. Remember when they were saying hang Mike Pence? Your guy?
I'm sorry.
That didn't happen either?
Can we pause for a second? You do construction. You've messed with a zip tie before. Like, first of all, in order to hang someone, you'd have to like string them together just right to make it big enough.
Did you hear Mike Pence's security detail like calling their family and saying, I might not make it back? Like
Mike Pence is a traitor. He literally traded on Trump. Like Mike Pence can jump off a cliff for all I care. You can't trust him.
Okay, that's fine. But his security detail, who are just people making $45,000 a year, calling their family and saying, we think we're going to die. This might be the last time I ever call you. That fear wasn't real.
I don't know what's real anymore anyway. I feel like every time I read and I see both sides of the story.
But isn't that what you guys do over and over again? You just, no matter what facts you get, you just go, I don't believe it. I mean, look, if I tell you I'm wearing a blue shirt and you just go, I don't believe it. I think you're fucking around with your monitor and your video. Like, if you just don't believe anything, then what's the point of even having any discussion? Like,
it's not that I don't believe it. I think what it is that I'm looking at it going, this is pretty factual. This is like, if you follow
what's factual?
People are patterned. The economy has trends and patterns. If you follow the data, you follow the numbers, you follow the patterns, it's pretty obvious what's going on.
We're talking about January 6th.
We're talking about January 6th, man. Listen.
So all you do is watch the video.
So now we're 18 months later, and we're still bringing this back up. Like, why?
because the guy who basically incited the riot and led an insurrection and tried to have a coup might be running for president 2 years. Don't you want to know? Don't you want to know if your Lord, God, and Savior possibly wanted to have a coup and possibly led an insurrection?
I cannot stand the current administration. I think they've done nothing positive for this country.
Okay, great. That's a different podcast.
Them out, and
it's a different podcast.
Anybody could come in. Right. Anybody else could come in. So if there was a coup, good. Fighting for freedom.
I feel the same way about Donald Trump.
Fighting for the Constitution.
If they exhumed Hitler out of the grave and ran him, I'd probably vote for him instead of Trump. But let's put that aside.
Oh my God, you can't say that. You're a Jew.
That's a different podcast. All right. Let's talk about January 6th.
And I believe you just said that. I feel like.
Let's talk about January 6th.
Okay.
You don't believe the video. You don't believe the documentaries. You don't believe the Republican testimony. You don't believe anything. You just make up some shit in your head that Nancy Pelosi fucking started because some asshole on a website somewhere said that. Like, no. What do you believe?
I believe.
And based on what?
That there was a speech. There were supporters. I believe that there were people there that were pissed. They saw what was going on. They did not want the change of regime. Absolutely. So they were supporting the president and the patriotism and the country for the way it was founded. Do I believe that the current regime saw this eminent influx of people supporting someone that they disdain? Absolutely.
The current regime wasn't in yet. It was January 6th. They didn't start until
Pelosi,
January 20th.
It was the regime. Pelosi is in charge. Let's be clear. Biden isn't in control. Camel toe ain't in control. Pelosi runs this country right now. Let's be clear. Okay? Let's be real clear. You got two puppets in office who can't even speak on camera coherently.
Yeah. Did you listen to Trump talk for 4 years? If you're going to talk about Kofi president, let's be honest, you're talking about one of the dumbest, most inarticulate human beings who's ever lived. Okay, so please,
Well,
let's
I
not
mean,
talk. Let's pull up some of his speech where the guy can't fucking put a
the
sentence
American
together.
population isn't like the most brilliant, so he was dumbing
Okay,
it
well, you
down for
just
his
said that, like,
audience. It's
you just
fine.
said that Biden and Kamala Harris can't speak, but yet you've got the dumbest, most inarticulate president in the history of the planet who's just finished his term, and you don't see that. I mean, you're gonna whine about Biden, whine about Trump, and this is the
Listen,
difference, right?
I'm a
Hold
person
on.
that's like, look, you can talk about it, but are you being about it? Are you actions? Actions speak louder than words. His actions spoke louder than his words. I didn't give a crap.
Right, his actions were go fight, go stop this, go stop the certification right now, go to the Capitol, fight, and then he tried to get to the Capitol, and they wouldn't let him. Thank God for your side, because if he would have been there, then he would have been tried for treason. But actually, you know what? He wouldn't be, because your side would never do it. Your side doesn't. Your side, well, I don't. Nothing's happening. Everything's fine. It's like, it's so ridiculous.
Everything is not fine. Everything is really bad right now, and I think the rest of your side is like, oh, it's fine, it's great, it's rosy,
no,
it's rose.
There are problems.
It's
there
not.
Are problems, but the difference is my side wants to find out what they are. My side wants to look at things and say, let's see what's going on. Let's understand.
Well, that's what our side's trying to do, but your side continues to cock block all the efforts to show like this is really what's going on, but it doesn't benefit the agenda.
You're the one who said the investigation, the committee trying to investigate the situation is a witch hunt, it's a hoax, it's bullshit. They're the ones trying to get to the bottom of it. So you're the one who doesn't want to find out.
They're the ones that created and cited 85% of the drama. Innocent people died at the hands of the police that are supposed to protect and serve, that didn't follow police protocols.
Did you see the woman who died? Did you see the video of the woman who died? Did you see it?
Which one?
The woman who tried to break into the chambers of the house.
There were two. Ashley Babbitt.
Okay, yeah, that one. Did you see?
Yeah.
Did you see her breaking down the glass?
She didn't break down the glass.
Did you see the fucking video?
To her. Yeah.
Did you see her trying to climb in? Did you see?
Do you want me to share the documentary right now in the close-up of the guy next to her with a helmet in his hand, a black police helmet, the exact helmets that all of the police were wearing, and he had a beanie in his other hand, and he's bashing in the glass. And Lieutenant Michael Boyd is standing in the corner. You see his gun and you see his wrists and his bracelets. And she's trying to get out because the police were coming up the stairs. Yeah, she's like, I want to get out. I'm going in because they're coming in and I don't want to get arrested. So she tries to climb through the glass. And the only reason why that police officer should have shot her is because he felt unsafe and she's this tiny little woman. She's like maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. This dude is like literally 280. And he's carrying a gun. And there's another police officer right behind him. You see two guns. And you see him she steps. She doesn't even go in. And he fires and she falls to the ground, dead, instantly. And the guy who was breaking in the glass, he sneaks away. He changes his clothes in the stairwell, like 20 feet away, and sneaks out. No one knows who he really is. He's never been charged. Come on. Really?
Yeah, come on, exactly. There's thousands of people have now entered the Capitol. They're tearing it apart. It's a riot. I mean, they're attacking cops. They're breaking down windows. They're breaking down offices. They're saying, hang Mike Pence. This woman, whoever the hell she is breaking a window to get into the chambers of the house. There's a gun pointed in her face. They say, stop, 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 over and over again. She keeps coming in. And she's the tip of the spear. You think they're going to let her come in? Because, oh, wait, which one of it is you? Is it you? Is it you? Which one is it? No. Whoever the hell this guy was.
Listen, I know this whole stop, stop, stop. You hear no audio in this video. There's no stop, stop, stop. You don't hear anybody speaking. They are supposed to say that.
If I am breaking in through a window and I'm looking at a gun and a police pointing at me and I keep moving forward and I don't stop, guess what? I'm going to get shot, especially if there's 10,000 people behind me in a riot, right? Where the entire seat of our government is in peril right now. Like, you're going to get shot for sure. I mean, and the fact that you can think like in the fog of war, they would have Pelosi would have this one guy stationed next to her with a helmet and a mask, and he's got this whole choreographed thing, what he's going to do. So she gets shot, so they can have a false flag, so we can show this video, then he's going to turn away, and all the cops are there going to know what's going on and be like, let him go. He's all right. He's one of ours. Like, what kind of fucking fantasy land do you people live in?
The military uses this kind of ops all the time. This is like military training. This is what they do. Are you kidding me? Like, my neighbors are retired military, and they have told me some stories, and I'm like, oh my God, you need therapy. Like, I can't even believe that's what you went through. I can't believe you did that. The level of psyops and the level of things that they are willing to do and the levels they're willing to go to protect their agenda, there's no limits, dude. How do you not see that there are no limits to what our government is willing to do at this point?
How do you
to
not
protect their own
see?
agenda?
How do you not see tens of thousands of people attacking our Capitol?
Not tens of thousands. There were not tens of thousands of people in the Capitol. They're outside
So you know what we
of
should
the
do? I'll tell you.
Capitol.
Let's talk. So let's
Capitol.
argue for tens of thousands versus thousands. There were massive amounts of people, thousands, hundreds.
But who's to say that not some of them were like Antifa or they were like?
Who cares? What? How did they get started? They got started. Did Trump tweet, "It's going to be wild on January 6th"? Or that was Pelosi? Was that Trump or Pelosi said it's going to be wild on January 6th? Who tweeted it? You tell me.
Nobody.
Trump didn't tweet it. Trump didn't tweet, "It will be wild."
That's a pretty vague statement.
I'm asking you if he tweeted it or not. Look, if you're justifying it, that's fine. Did he say it? Did he tweet it?
I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. I think Twitter's stupid.
See, but this is what you Republicans, this is what you guys do.
No, I'm on every other social platform, but Twitter's stupid and I can't make money on it, so I don't use it. You're saying
there's Twitter? I don't see Twitter.
I know Twitter exists. I just think Twitter is stupid, so I don't participate in it.
But here's the thing. It's like this, when you make arguments like this, like when he clearly, you know he tweeted it'll be wild.
Sure, fine.
But you won't admit it.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Because like somehow you think if I admit that.
I'll Google it real quick.
And how much you want? But before we do it, can we bet some amount of money, like $800 billion?
No, I want to ask you a question. No, I just want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild. Pretty vague statement, would you not say?
No, pretty vague. It is. Of course. Okay. But that's the beginning. That's the beginning. And yeah, if you're a Republican and go, well, nothing happened after that, it's okay. But when you start putting the pieces together all the way through the end, basically you find that what this guy did is he called the people to Washington. He incited them with the speech. He incited them with all the people. He told them to go attack. He did everything but hold the goddamn flagpole to break down the door. And you guys go, oh, well, you know, Pelosi and Antifa. Like, and based on what? Where you come up with this shit?
I'm saying
you're just making it up.
Documentary. You need to watch it tonight, and then I expect an apology tomorrow, and a love letter, and flowers, and candy, and a new car. You're welcome.
Well, you already owe me $800 billion because you lost the tweet back. So you know.
I'm so sorry. That contract was not written or oral. Thank you so much. I did not consent to that. There are no terms to this agreement, friend. I am not repaying that bull swag bet.
All right. So where are we left? So let's talk about, just since we clearly don't agree on anything that happened, even though we both saw the same stuff.
It's amazing I still like you, though. I really actually still think you're like the coolest human being ever.
Well,
like,
every single person we know has told us that at some point in this podcast, you and I are going to start to hate each other. Like, there's no way we can survive this podcast and still be friends.
You know what? I think the crazy part is I don't believe that to be true. Because, look, I've told you this before. Look, the country is arguing about like a ton of things that we cannot control. We vote, they go. It's the Wild Wild West, man. How do we know what's really going on behind the scenes? How do we know they're not being paid? How do you know a lobbyist isn't in their back pocket and they were stood on this platform to protect and serve and do all the things for your state, and then they get there and it's a whole other ball of wax? Like, to be honest, we are fighting and arguing and conversing and sharing thoughts about a lot of things that truly are outside of our jurisdiction and control. We cannot actually handle or control these things. So we're just sharing our opinion on how it should go. And at the end of the day, it's merely that, an opinion. It's how I feel. It's how you feel.
No, exactly.
So I can't hate you for being a dumbass. I still think you're cool and brilliant and funny and emotionally intelligent and like know all my secrets, so I have to keep you close. So
most people hate me because I'm a dumbass, though, so it's all right. You wouldn't be the first nor the last. Yeah. But no, but it is interesting, right? And really, look, the whole point of this podcast is to show that we can talk. Like, both sides can talk, and we can yell and scream and call each other dumbass. And at the end, it's all cool. Like, whatever. Like, I would never. Like, I don't think I'll ever have.
How like you see it like this way, and I'm like, what in the Hades?
And that's actually what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is that I think the interesting part about it is that when we come together, when the two sides come together, we are looking at one picture, and you're seeing a dog, and I'm seeing a cat. And it's astonishing to me that you think the way you do. It's astonishing to you that I think the way I do. And it's like, how do we ultimately bridge the gap? Like, how does it ultimately happen that we can come together and say, we agree? Just how do we agree on the facts? Like, we don't agree on the facts anymore. Well, that's crazy to me.
And I think this is where, like, when you said, like, if you don't believe in anything, how can you stand and have this conversation in the show? It's not that. It's that I don't feel like we're being given all of the facts. Like, I'm one of those people where, like, you go
Time's
to therapy.
Up. 30 minutes. We're done.
Shut up. No, I'm not done. You go to therapy and, like, you tell the whole truth, not the part that you want the therapist to hear so they give you advice and validate your ego, but you tell all the good, bad, ugly, right? So you get a collective picture and then you go from there. And so, like, right now, I just don't feel like we're getting the whole collective picture.
Here's my response to that. And it's what I started this podcast on. 15 years ago, there was a newspaper article about a building I built, and it had the 2 bedrooms, the 1 bedrooms reversed. Everything else about the article was true, but they had one fact that was off because they just fucked up. Oops, they made a mistake because they didn't know. I believe that's what the mainstream media. I think that the vast majority of what they report and say is correct, and there's some stuff on the fringes that is incorrect. Now, a lot of people like you take that to be it's lying. We don't know everything, but I'm like, you know what? Those pieces on the fringes don't matter in the context of what they're trying to describe.
Omission,
you believe the opposite,
is a lie. Omission, like not saying something is omitting it, is concealing the truth.
No, in that case it would be, but like in my situation, they weren't lying about my 2 bedrooms versus 1 bedrooms. They got the facts wrong. Did that affect any part of their article? No, it didn't, but they got something wrong. I believe, and for the most part, when the media reports something, they're mostly right. And they get some things wrong, or maybe there's some opinion that they put in there that might be bullshit or you don't believe, which is fine. I don't understand why you think that fringe or that piece, that opinion invalidates the entirety of what they're trying to say.
Because I'm in marketing and I understand that when someone reads something repetitiously over and over and over and over again, it's being programmed and ingrained into their brain that is the truth. So every time there's an omission of a fact, it becomes a pillar of truth, which is not the truth. It's actually a lie. So because of that, like, and I'm going to take it back like an 8-track for you. Like, how did Hitler do what he did? How did he get people to buy into what he did, which was genocide? Was completely, disgusting. You of all people. So you look at that and you go, how did this one person do all of that? Propaganda. Repetitious programming.
Which is what we believe Trump does, not what the New York Times does.
The New York Times, social media.
The New York Times doesn't have an agenda to create a bunch of robots. Trump does.
Yes, it
does.
He's
done that too.
It's a total blue state. It's governed by the freaking Roosevelts and the Rothschilds. All those media outlets are owned.
The Jews.
Get out of here.
Blame the Jews. All right, we're 33 minutes. We're done.
Okay.
Love you.
I wasn't done yet. I was still I was saucy and hot today. I was ready.
33 minutes. We're done. We've got a pact with our audience.
I have to take a cold shower. I'm gonna have to
we're
literally done. Like my cheeks are flushed. I'm pretty
sure. I knew today was gonna be
because
today's topic was something that like I knew that you just absolutely look at the screen and see black and I see white. I just knew today was gonna be gnarly.
MAGA bitch.
Because there's no theories on this. It's not political theory. How do you feel? It's like what actually happened. And so the facts of this are somehow, we don't know, are in dispute. Even though we have video of it, they're still in dispute, which is astonishing.
That
in this day and age. That we have video. Like this, usually you always say, like, if we only had video of the crime, we had video of the crime. You guys watched it. We all watched it. And you see black and I see white. It's just like, anyway. Hey, love ya. You're the best. You look great.
Thanks. I've been working out. I brushed my hair today.
You look, yes. All right,
Thank you. You're the best.
See you soon.
Love you a long time, Pookie.